Richard Sherman said that Kyle Shanahan would rather have Brock Purdy than Josh Allen because his system fits Purdy better. This one broke my brain a little bit. Really defending this take.
He's so right.
Marcus Spears, they all do a show together, said that with Deebo Samuel, CMC, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Ayuk, Josh Allen would be in the Hall of Fame already. And then Richard Sherman said, Cap, we judge people off the Super Bowl. Jimmy G didn't turn, if the Jimmy G didn't turn the ball over, the 49ers would have already had a Super Bowl, and Brock Purdy does a better job at taking care of the football. So Kyle Shanahan would rather have him, and Trey Lance is evidence of this. I don't really understand. Can you maybe tell me what you think Sherman's take was, and if you agree with it or not?
No, Sherman's just at this point really trying to be a homer of hardcore, because I think that's ridiculous. Like, okay, look, to his credit, I'll say this. This system, yeah, you don't need the Josh Allen types, the very mobile guys, the design runs, the read options, the guy who throws arm. Like, the way it works, like, he likes to matriculate down the field and take spotty shots. That's why I think it's also like, oh, all the yak and everything like that. But my thing is like, yes, this specific system, but let's not act like Shanahan wouldn't adjust if he gets like a great, brilliant talent like a Josh Allen. He definitely would adjust. He'll still be fairly run heavy, but I think, yeah, we'll definitely see more. We definitely would see more that would curtail towards the skill set of that quarterback, because I don't think Shanahan's that too ridiculously like that.
Didn't Shanahan literally, like, when they drafted Trey Lance, say they wanted someone with like a Drew Brees mentality, but a Lamar Jackson skill set? Like, I don't know. I think he would have he could adjust his scheme. Richard Sherman said Josh Allen doesn't fit with how Kyle Shanahan calls plays. Trey Lance didn't either, which is why they decided to trade him. Allen has yet to make a Super Bowl regardless, and that's the way that we should measure QBs.
Yeah, this way. I just think that entire in the Niners, yeah, I don't think Josh Allen would be fit. But guess what? I don't think Kyle Shanahan would run that exact one. Like, that's stupid. If Kyle Shanahan gets that talent and you're not getting the most out of him, that's a coaching's fault. All right. So yes, he is right. In this system, Purdy's more fit, but he's not going to keep him in that system. Like, are you ridiculous? Are you stupid? Like, come on. Like, I think now he's just being a little entrenched because of people trying to come poo-poo, because this actually was a game where Purdy did kind of get carried, but it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, at least he came through in the end. Like, yeah, he had a bad game. He got carried, but that hasn't been the case for most of the season. So it's fine. Again, this is why it's like, yes, he played like crap. We can critique that, but let's not act like that's who he was all season long. Let's not act like this has been the standard.
Sean McDermott and calls up John Lynch. No, John Lynch calls up Sean McDermott. Says Brock Purdy for Josh Allen. You think they're taking that? Richard Sherman's like, why wouldn't they go for that? That doesn't make sense.
I bet you Richard Sherman wouldn't say anything if it was being mentioned with Lamar, because Lamar and Josh Allen are kind of a little similar, where they both scramble. They basically are running quarterbacks with a big arm, and they're capable of delivering in the pocket. Is he going to say that about Lamar? Is he going to say that about Mahomes? Well, Mahomes isn't really a running quarterback like that, but he's functional mobility. I bet you wouldn't say about those quarterbacks.
Someone in the comments says Josh Allen has a ton of talent, but his decisions can be subpar. I think a lot of that has to do with the pressure that's put on him, though. And you're right. Brock Purdy, like, every quarterback can make some subpar decision makings, but also I think there's a lot more pressure on Josh Allen to, like, be the entire offense. This is the first year that it felt like they had a little bit more of a running game. I think Josh Allen is incredibly intelligent, and he's also very physically capable. I think he just doesn't have as good of an offensive scheme. But I think under Kyle Shanahan could create an offensive scheme that I think Josh Allen would be more than capable of understanding. And then, like, there would just be it would be Purdy, but like plus an arm, plus more mobility, plus more strength.
Remember last week how there was talk about, what was it? Bosa said it, like, oh yeah, like they did run the system, but you would have Aaron Rodgers essentially going like a cappella, like kind of doing his own thing at the same time. Whereas now it's like, okay, now it really is the system. It would be kind of like that, where it's like, it's still a Shanahan system, but he's doing his own thing. But I think Shanahan would probably curtail it a little more, because you'd be foolish not to. And I think that's also why LaFleur didn't like necessarily enforce too much of his own system. It's like, what am I going to do? I have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time here. But yeah, on Josh's ends, yeah, he does short circuit on some decisions. But here's the thing: he makes up with it with brilliant play for most of the game and most of the season. So it's like, yeah, he's throwing 14 picks or turning the ball 14 times. Guess what? He's throwing 14 tugs. He's throwing 14 tugs for almost 5,000 for 4,500 yards, and he's rushing for like 500, 800. So it's like, yeah, they're pretty bad decisions, yes, but he's good enough where you can offset that and like overcome and still be fairly dominant.
With Brock Purdy, like they lose, I think, all but one game this year that he's thrown an interception. With Josh Allen, if he throws an interception, you're like still 100% in the game because he is more likely to bring your team back. If you're down, and I know Brock Purdy just did it, but if you're down at the end of the game and you get to choose to have Josh Allen as your quarterback and Brock Purdy, no offense, I'm choosing Josh Allen.
Yeah, because that Shanahan's system and Purdy, like it's clear,
especially especially if you also get Kyle Shanahan as the coordinator.
Yeah, you take these guys out of their comfort zone, the 49ers, and it does look, they do start to unravel. Like it's kind of hard to watch. Like honestly, did you think the Niners are going to win almost 21-14, 21-17? Because after that Aaron Jones run, I was like, 28-17, here we come. It's over. I was already texting my cousins in the group chat. I was like, I think this is over, guys. Like, I can't believe what we're watching. This is inexcusable. Like, if anyone thought the Niners in that session were still going to win, you just at that point, you just really are a true fan then. Like, I don't give up, like type of thing. Because realistically, there was nothing on that side that made me feel like the Niners were going to like turn it up. But, you had 3-4 straight amazing defensive stands, and then you just get one good offensive series out of the 49ers. It really was the offense. Like all of a sudden, like, okay, yeah. Like,
did you feel nervous when Green Bay got the ball back and they made 2 completions before the interception?
There was a minute left. They had 3 timeouts, right?
But Jordan Love like completed 2, and I thought that they would probably get in field goal range and potentially kick a field goal.
But I wouldn't feel confident in that kicker making it either because he's pretty much their Jake Moody.
Josh Allen is a bum? No, you're wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, the discourse this week and quarterback takes is ridiculous.
Josh Allen had a magnificent game against the Chiefs. He played insanely well.
Like, okay, Peyton Manning in the playoffs was not that good. Is he a bum? Like, honestly, I remember growing up.
Josh Allen is also like, it just sucks to be Josh Allen because like they can't beat the Chiefs. But I swear to God, I think potentially his like the game against the Patriots where they score on literally every offensive possession might be his best game. But aside from that, I think his 2 other best games are his 2 losses to the Chiefs. Like he played really well. We're not gonna create like QB wins are not a thing. He played perfect in that game.
He played pretty well, yeah. But also he did have several mistakes. He did make several mistakes. I mean, Diggs didn't help him in the catch, but they win that game if he delivers it. Who's it? Did Gabe Davis in the slot? Shakir on second down. That's on him.
Gabe Davis yelling at the fans.
The difference is, notice how Purdy played poor for 3.5 quarters in the game, but he just needed one good drive. Where Josh Allen played good for most of the game, but had several plays where it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing that were costly? That goes to show how much he is relied upon versus Purdy. That goes to show how much more talent there is on one team versus the other. The 49ers have like half the team Pro Bowlers and 7 All-Pros. How many All-Pros did the Bills have? 1? 0? 2 max? So, of course, the guy who essentially is, we can acknowledge Josh Allen is essentially an All-Pro talent. It just shows how much literally is on him, where he can keep being amazing, but it's just the margin of error is that smaller, and that's because of the talent and probably even coaching around him versus Purdy. Like, he could just flame out, not function in the rain, can't throw, can't sustain drives, but all they need is one good drive from him, they're good enough. That just shows like how built different each team is, where one is all concentrated in the quarterback, the other one's all concentrated, like well-rounded. But that comes the case where what happens if it's a back and forth game? What happens if you're behind? What happens if it's tight? Like, can this guy deliver? And Purdy's right there where I think he can, where he's going to prove he can. So yeah, I think the whole discourse on Josh Allen is just so unfair. It's just like, yeah, he deserves. I mean, I'll say this, like Josh Allen's like, he had to play a game, but we can criticize him. Like, yeah, some of those moments, like he just messed up and couldn't, but that just goes to show what it is about the Bills, right? Like he can't afford to have 1 or 3 bad plays.
Josh Allen has to be perfect. Brock Purdy, I feel like doesn't have to be perfect.
You just said he had a D+ game. I said he had a C-, and they won.
Yeah.
The difference was
that one Brandon Ayuk catch, he had to like turn around and go back for it and like get it basically off the ground.
Yeah.
Josh Allen doesn't have receivers that are doing that. He has to like put it in the exact right placement. Yeah, see, Bills could have won if Diggs would have came down with that ball. And on the 49ers, most of the receivers get that ball. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a weird take from
quarterback discourse is
Richard
ridiculous.
Sherman.
Like everything's like, why is everyone hating on Purdy? And it's like, no, well, some people who are hating
I
on
also think that's like oddly insulting to the Shanahan system. Like, you don't believe that Kyle Shanahan could adjust if he had a top 3 quarterback and like change the scheme, because he said Kyle's system isn't for everyone. It's not about having a big arm or athleticism. It's about processing and anticipation. So to assume just because Josh Allen is talented, he would fit in this scheme isn't accurate. It's like, okay, well, Kyle would adjust his scheme if he had a top 3 quarterback to being more something that Josh Allen would run effectively. Also, I weirdly feel like this is saying that Josh Allen doesn't have processing and anticipation, which I also would find
good in that system too. If you just kind of limited him from being less of as freaking of a playmaker. For again, he's probably being a playmaker, arguably being a playmaker, because again, what's around him system wise, and
Brock Purdy himself, like Brock Purdy has said in college he threw way more interceptions because it was all on him and he had to be a playmaker. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't say, and then now that he doesn't have to be the star guy and the one that's doing it all, his interceptions has gone way down. Why wouldn't you assume that the same thing would happen for Josh Allen?
I mean,
right? Wouldn't that translate?
Bringing another quarterback, Mahomes, like he's not having flashy plays all the time. He's throwing very short and yak a lot. It's making the right decisions. What you have around you, that's more system fit. Like the system and the players around him can work. And then he just flashes with other players that he's had. So it's just, quarterback discourse is just blatantly bad. Like everything just gets generalized after one game.